We're here in Austin, Texas, Conscious Capitalism Conference. David and I getting a chance to sit down with one of our business heroes, Roy Spence, who's the founder of GSD&M, one of the co-founders of GSD&M, author of It's Not What You Sell, It's What You Stand For, and so many other ways that Roy has influenced businesses from a marketing perspective and from a conscious capitalism perspective. And Roy, thanks for sitting down and spending time with us.
Brothers, it's always a joy to be with my brothers.
Does that mean you've adopted us in your family, Roy? Because we're ready to join.
No, you've adopted me, and I need money. So I love y'all. You know, I'll change my name and everything. Roy Gardner. It's great. It just kind of rolls off the top.
Royito Gardner.
Royito.
So just give us a little GSD&M. Just for somebody out there who's never heard of it before, we have investors and business owners. Just a little background on the firm and how you started it.
Real quick. I know I look fabulous, but I started the business 42 years ago at the University of Texas, whatever, and we had a little company called Media 70, and I met 3 partners, and we did multimedia shows, and people paid us 50 cents to come watch these little shows, and we graduated, I think, pretty sure, and one of my partners looked at me and said, "So what are we going to do now?" And the other one said, "Well, let's start an advertising agency." And I said, "Awesome. What is that? What is one?" I was an English and government major. I was going to be president. Still might. My name is Roy Spence. Anyway.
Might still.
So I went, as you know, I went down to the bank and I had a brand new tie-dyed T-shirt. My ponytail was looking fabulous, and I needed to borrow $5,000. So I walked into a guy named John Oliver, City National Bank, and his office, and he said, "Excuse me, do you have an appointment?" And I went, "No, but you're not like busy." It was like, I didn't know. And he said, "Well, what do you need?" I said, "Well, I need to borrow $5,000 to start GSD&M, the advertising agency." He said, "Well, what's your business plan?" I went, "Well, we want to like stay together, and we want to like stay in Austin, and we would like to make money making some kind of difference." 42 years later, the 4 partners are still together.
Mm-hmm. That's the G, that's the D, and the M.
And we're still in Austin, and we're still trying to make a difference. And the long story to it, he actually loaned us the $5,000, and we paid it back a couple of weeks ago. But here's really kind of
patience, that's love.
Here's kind of the story of purpose on that. I went to a reception about 10 years ago, and a man walks up to me here in Austin and said, "Do you see that older gentleman over there with a cane? Do you know who he is?" And I went, "Yeah, his name is Robert Sneed. He was a lawyer in town and a mentor of all of us in college." He said, "You remember that $5,000 that you borrowed 25 years ago?" And I went, "Like it was yesterday." And he said, "Do you know that he co-signed that note and never told you? Because he wanted you to believe that you got it on your own." Lesson learned, somebody helps you, you help somebody else. And so Herb Kelleher walked into my life. He had like 28 airplanes at Southwest Airlines. I was like 28 years old.
What year would we be there?
God,
I'm not trying to
probably 79, 80,
79, yeah.
80, something like that.
Right.
And I don't even know if I'd flown before, but we'd run a political campaign and we'd beat his candidate, so he wanted to hire the enemy. And for 30 some odd years we've done Southwest Airlines, and then Sam Walton called Collect.
I love that.
No kidding.
That's made in America right there.
And he said, "Oh, Roy, I love what you're doing for Herb. This is Sam Walton." And we're a little old company in Bentonville, Arkansas, and he called me Old Roy because that's the name of his dog food. And he said, "No, really." He said, "Can you come to Bentonville?" I'm shaking. And so I went to Bentonville. That's back when you used to carry those big briefcases with nothing in them to look important. And I'm sitting there, it's no kidding.
Are you in a suit?
Yeah, rented. I had a clip on. It was looking awesome.
Rented suit, clip on.
I did my haircut. I cut my hair a little bit, you know. And so there was Sam and David Glass and all these executives, Roger McNitt, and finally Sam looks at me and says, "Well, oh, I'm sure glad you're here. Like, where's the rest of your staff?" And I had the briefcase in front of my knees because they were just like this. I mean, This is Sam Walton. I was frozen, and finally I just said, well, you know, there's an old saying in Texas, one riot, one ranger. What kind of problem you got? No, it was going out, and I was trying to catch it and bring it back. He falls on the floor, gets up, and he said, you are hired.
Nice.
And for 17 years, went from, you know, a couple 13 billion to 300 billion or something. So we got to ride with him, and then Norm Brinker had about 30 chili stores, hired us, Charles Schwab, worked with the Clintons on a lot of foundation work and campaigns. So we got real lucky.
Well, you say luck, but why did Southwest stick with you after the second year, the fourth year, all the way through 30 years? What were the early year reasons for them to say we're re-upping?
Well, I'm fabulous.
Yeah,
no.
You look good.
No. This is what we think about, and we have to teach and reteach ourselves and our people every day. I never was in the advertising business. We were in the business to build our clients' business. And because we weren't in Madison Avenue, we didn't know that you were supposed to be in the ad business. So it didn't matter whether it was helping with strikes or employee relationships or doing great ads or inventing the Rapid Rewards stuff. It didn't. We were built to build sales, and advertising was simply one of the tools. And so I think that we also were working with the CEOs, which was fabulous. And I hope this trend is coming back. When we first started doing our business, the CEOs were deeply involved with the marketing, and because it wasn't just something you gave over to somebody else.
Presidents used to write their own speeches.
That's right.
Back in the day.
And so I'm seeing more of that happening now. So I think it was our commitment to do whatever it took. And it's also our commitment to fess up when we messed up. And, you know, advertising people have a hard time doing that. Well, it's perfect. Well, it didn't work. Yeah, well, it's the salespeople's fault or whatever. So combination of working with good people, believing we are in the business to build our clients' business, not do advertising, and fessing up.
Right on.
And then trying to make amends and doubling down to help them.
Well, let me ask you about purpose.
And great people, by the way.
Purpose, you have your Purpose Institute. Yeah. You've written at least one outstanding book, and I want to say it again, it's not what you sell, it's what you stand for, and it's a book I read and recommended to many people.
Thank you.
When did you get the purpose bug, Gene? How did you switch on? Was there a magic moment there?
There really was, and we didn't know it. There were two of them. One was mid-'80s. A guy named Mark White was governor of Texas. And a man named Bob Lanier, who ended up being the mayor of Houston, was the head of the Highway Commission. And all the highway department people were presenting budgets. And the people who were doing the litter presented, you know, every year, sir, I wasn't at the meeting, but every year litter goes up in Texas by 17%. And so we need an increase in the budget of 17%. And Bob Lanier, love him, smart, has those glasses, and he said, has anybody ever thought about reducing litter? So we could like reduce what we spend picking it up? And the room was just like deadly silent. He said, let's try that. So long story short, they put an RFP out on trying to prevent litter. And we were part of it. And back then there was these two great campaigns, you know, Give a Hoot, Don't Pollute, with the little owl, and then the Crying Indian, because we were messing up the land. And the agency we were pitching against had some background in that, and so we were terrified, and we had no idea. Long story short, my partner Tim McClure, the day before the pitch, wrote a line called "Don't Mess with Texas." And I said, what does that mean? He said, trust me. We go and pitch this thing, and at the end, I now really studied up, and we knew kind of what the competition, us and the guy said, we don't get it. And I said, good, it's not for you. Here's the deal. The Crying Indian and Give a Hoot, Don't Pollute appeals to the Sierra Club. They don't litter. Billy Bob Bowtree from Tyler, Texas litters. We launched Don't Mess with Texas. A lot of controversy, people don't remember. Stevie Ray Vaughan was our first guy, then the Hells Angels, and then Willie Nelson, Jerry Jeff Walker, Lyle Lovett, Don't You Mess with Texas. And in 5 years, litter was reduced by 76%. We know that because there was a guy in California whose job it is to count litter. And so we looked at that and said, how in the world, no regulations, no penalties, no new laws, and we realized we laddered up from litter to pride. And we said, there's something here. We're not in the litter business, we're in the pride business. So we go to Herb Kelleher and say, and we have a whole campaign, we're not in the airline business, you're in the freedom business. You set out to democratize the skies. And that all started helping our company, and me in particular, realize that there's a higher calling to every business. You think you're in the stockbroker business, but you're really doing something else. And then finally, what happened, what nailed it, we were 25 years anniversary, and I'm flying on Southwest Airlines. And Herb Kelleher says, I'm the only CEO in America whose attention span is so short that I get USA Today summarized in the morning. But anyway, I can deal with that. I'm working through that. But anyway, so and we were having problems at my company. The partnership was rocky. We were doing great revenues, great top line, great bottom, but the culture was rocking. Because, 4 of us, and there was this big article on this thing a book called Built to Last. I get off the phone, I can't pronounce Jerry Porris's name, so I called Jim Collins. And he said, you're the first person to call me. And I said, well, I don't know you, but I don't know if our company's built to last. And you remember the centerpiece, besides level 5 leadership, was the visionary companies always have a purpose beyond making money. Collins comes into our life, he helps us design and articulate our values and purpose. So we got on the purpose journey early in life. And when we wrote the book, I had no idea that how powerful this idea was going to be, because the whole world knows what you sell. Now they want to know what you stand for. And the wave is huge.
Particularly with the internet and the ability for everyone, not just your customers, but anyone who's ever impacted in any way by your business to get out there and start talking about you.
Totally. And there was an article written not too long ago in Forbes or Fortune that said they're predicting that 1/5 of all the S&P companies now in 5 years will be converted to purpose-inspired, purpose-driven companies. Because if you have a choice in doing business with a bank X and you don't know or what they stand for and exactly what you believe, in bank Y, who is totally transparent about we're in the business to improve lives, or whatever it is, you're going to want to go and do business with people who you love what they stand for. The old model was in business, I'm going to make a ton of money and then I'm going to contribute to some cause. The conscious capital movement, which I didn't even know what the words were, and we were. We're going to improve the lives of our associates and employees. We're going to improve the lives of our customers. We're going to improve the lives of our stakeholders, our vendor partners. We were the only advertising agency that had parties for our vendors. And we're going to improve the lives of our community and our country. We didn't know that. So the real model, the conscious capital model, is that regardless of whether you do charity or not, the biggest thing you can do is everyone you touch, you improve their life. And in the process of improving their lives, if you know anything about business, your bottom line will be improved too.
And I know you've often used, in fact, we talked a little bit about the Motley Fool. You said, hey, you guys, you should say that you're in the life improvement business.
Yeah.
And I think that we are, but we haven't necessarily, that's not a tagline. We haven't been able to afford GSD&M.
Are you blaming me?
Not at all.
It seems like you are.
No. This is actually.
Are y'all getting along okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of love here, Roy. Now that you're here.
One other question, just about.
By the way, on that, real
Sure.
quick, it doesn't have to be a tagline. You know, when we do our purpose work, and the Purpose Institute, now I'm spending full time on it because, first of all, it's rewarding, and we get to go around the country and the world taking companies that have lost their way, and I know something about that. And normally the companies that have lost their way, they don't have that anchor and North Star called purpose. Purpose is that definitive difference you're trying to make in the world. Aristotle said it the best, where your talents and the needs of the world intersect. If you don't have, by the way, I think your course to steer is your purpose. It's the only thing that will trump chaos. A course to steer will wear out chaos. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that, then you're reacting to everything that's going around. So it's really been a fascinating journey and rewarding, actually.
One reflection on some of the companies you worked with, Roy, and how you work with them. In marketing terms, at least in my undergraduate one marketing course mind, you reframe things really well. You're like, you thought you were about this, but you're actually about this. Yeah. It's a very powerful thing to do, not just in marketing, but in lots of areas of life. Often I notice you find the brands and you really help the ones that democratize things.
Yeah,
Is that
I love
fair?
That.
You're
yes.
like Walmart, it makes things affordable for everyone. Southwest, let's...
Freedom to fly.
Freedom to fly.
Even though, yes. We love those and because it's actually more fun to be in a movement than an ad campaign.
Yeah.
And
much bigger.
It's bigger, it's more disruptive, and it's more fulfilling when you're democratizing things. And I used to be a little bit narrow-minded about that. That's really all I want to do. And then I started realizing that every company, every founder had some reason to start a company. And if I can help them go back, T.S. Eliot said it the best, we'll never cease to explore, but when it's over, we'll go back to where we started and know the place again for the first time. So whether it's Blue Cross or GE Aviation, it's thrilling to take the associates and the senior management and re-understand why this company was built, and then put it in terms that inspires people inside that company. And what happens, and y'all know it, when you have purpose driving your business, you never have a job. You just have work to do. You never have a job. You have work. If your business to improve lives, you got work to do. And
you said of us at one point, I remember, I love this, gosh, my feeling about the Motley Fool is the people who are not connecting with you, you're cheating them.
Right.
By not getting in the game of a transparent environment where they can ask questions and make decisions that have context rather than being sold something in isolation. You're cheating them if you don't get out and give them access to what you're doing.
And I really believe it. And now, because of the internet and so many other things, that you can reach people you normally couldn't reach before. But when you've got a purpose-inspired culture, and by the way, I'm just going to say it too, and I've got a new book coming out called The 10 Essential Hugs of Life.
Okay, great.
The 10 Essential Hugs of Life.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we're ending this conversation
with
with a hug. Just it's going to be a group hug at the end of this. It's going to be one of the essentials.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it is that and by the way, the people who endorse the book is Kip at Container Store, and Walter Robb at Whole Foods, and Maxine Clark at Build-A-Bear, and Colleen Barrett at Southwest Airlines, and our buddy Doug at Trader Joe's. The future of business, I'm just going to step out here. There's a couple of things. The future of business is the people who love cultures are going to win. I love what I do. I love the people I do it with. I love the fact we're improving lives. I love the fact that the company's built on tough love and not fear. And it's not going to be, you're not going to be afraid to say that. We're building a love culture.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Southwest Airlines, ticker symbol.
LUV. And the millennials are coming into the market, and people don't have I remember when the boomers came in, y'all are in-betweeners, which sucks. But, but it's like armadillos, you get run over in the middle of the road. But the boomers, here's what the boomers were saying. We don't know what to do with you, was the generation before me. We don't know what to do with you. You've got all this hair, and we don't know what to do with you. And so GSD&M rode that wave. We'll tell you what to do with us. The millennial generation, which I'm getting really involved with, because there's a guy named Jason Dorsey right here in Austin, Texas, who is the best in the world at articulating what the generation's about. He calls them my people. So while the generation before us didn't know what to do with us, we don't know what to make of them. And he says, you can always tell you're not one of them when you still write cursive. I mean, no, it's hysterical. And so part of this whole purpose thing, one of the things that's driving the millennial group is that they simply don't want to do business with, nor do they want to work with companies that don't know what their purpose is, that's going to run a company on fear and intimidation. They're not buying it. So I think love cultures are going to be the ones that win. Maybe they already always have been, but I think more importantly now than ever.
We're going to run a little exercise here. We'll see if this works.
Okay.
We're going to create a fictitious company
run
by some millennials.
Okay.
They've started a business and it's succeeding.
Yep.
It's 4 bakeries in the Midwest,
Yep.
and they're focused on absolute health for everyone who comes in.
Yep.
So I'd say maybe the 2 drivers for them are community and the healthiest bakery that you've ever eaten at.
Yep.
They've got 4 locations. They've got 10 million in sales, 32 employees, and they want to grow their business in a life-improving way with Roy's guidance. One of the best talks that I've ever seen, no political statement here on either side of the aisle, was by James Carville. And he talked about how he built a campaign from the ground up and the steps that you had to take to really become what you needed to become to win that election. So what are a few of the steps that this random bakery, let's call it Franklin's Bakery, I don't know why, it just came to me. So Franklin's Bakery, and they're really focused on bringing people together for the healthiest alternative in bakery experience.
It's in the Midwest, right?
It's in the Midwest.
So the name of the company is Midwheat Bakery.
Okay, good.
And we also have gluten-free too for those that don't. But first step number 1 is, why are you doing this? For what purpose?
Why? I'm Franklin.
For,
I'm mid.
For what purpose are you building this? Why are you building this?
So if I'm going to play the millennial, and I don't quite understand my kids either, I would say it seems like fun. It's something to do.
And I'm going to add it also, again, restating, we want to be the healthiest alternative out there. We want you to come in. We know that there are a lot of things about baked goods that aren't a healthy solution out there, and we want to provide the healthiest version, the tasteful, healthiest version.
So now that I know it seems like it's just for fun.
We love each other.
Yeah, and y'all love each other. First of all, I would start by thinking about what is that definitive statement that you want to make. What purpose? For what purpose? And it seems like you want to have fun helping people live well. So our purpose is to have fun helping people live well. And so first of all, is that the purpose? Then let's deal with the culture. You got to have a fun culture. But in the end, that culture has to produce living well, because we're going to hold you accountable for that. Secondly, the theme line of the whole campaign is I've already got it. And it's the Midwheat Bakery where goodness rules.
Great.
God, I'm good at this.
I'm ready.
Okay, so where goodness rules.
How do we make that
And
live
so
right
where goodness
through?
rules, we start, first of all, we're going to have good people. And by the way, I like people who like me.
Right.
We all do.
Sure.
My point is, they don't have to be like me, but you don't have to live your life around bad people.
Right.
I like people. If they don't like me, I don't like them. I don't know.
And you don't have to work with them.
This seems like the right thing to do unless they're clients, and then you do. But anyway,
I was wondering about the
so
client
first of
question,
all,
but keep going.
if your brand positioning and theme line is the Midwheat Bakery where goodness rules, you start with a good purpose, have fun so people can live well. You then start with good people, and you would design your own good people ingredients. This is good. What are the ingredients of a good person?
Yeah. Let's go with generosity.
Generosity,
Optimism.
optimism.
I mean, there's any number. How about daring do?
Daring
a
to
little
do.
bit of spitfire there.
Yep.
How about
Service-minded. They
Service-minded.
love being around other people and
Right.
helping.
And
They'll do anything at
and
any
I think
hour.
maybe the number one thing with millennials is we're all in this together. If we're not going to hire selfish people, and we're going to define a whole matrix about what decides a good person: service-minded, trustworthy, work ethic on their on their terminology. Honorable people, likable people, and they're in it, we're all in this together. So the first thing you do, because you're small, is that first employee that you hire, that first associate or first partner, you might want to think about the criteria that where goodness rules. If they're not worthy of a small piece of the ownership, maybe every person you hire, every person, they get a little piece of the action. That'll make you think about, are they really a good person? Secondly, you've got to have good ingredients based on your criteria. If you want to be organic, you have to define where goodness rules. We have good stuff. And let your associates and all you decide, what is that good stuff? And then we're going to have in the morning, since you're a bakery, we're going to create a good morning cheer for your company. It's good morning. It's not good morning. It's good morning. And so somehow it becomes part of the culture. This company is going to have more good mornings than any company in the world. And good morning, every customer walks in. What does it look like? What is our uniform? It's a sun coming up. You're putting sunlight in it. It's good morning. And then in the end, we're going to do good for the community. From the get-go, we're going to decide, even though it's going to be painful, that there's going to be a percent of everything we bring in. And it could expand to share and spread the goodness from this place. So where goodness rules, and then you have the goodness rules. And right then and there, you're starting not from scratch, but from strength, even though you're a startup. Because
we never start from scratch.
No.
No.
Now, by the way, we make our food from scratch. But we don't start from scratch. So the Midwheat Bakery Factory, Bake Company, where goodness rules.
Love it.
That's great. I'm
Let's
ready
do
to.
it.
Would you like
Let's
a
do it.
share?
Yeah, I'm in. Let's go do it.
Crowdfund this.
Let's call
We can
Panera,
crowdfund
the Panera guy, and say, buckle up. Okay? We're the Midwest, and where goodness rules.
That's great.
But that kind of stuff, basically, if you can get startups, this is why I'm so, I'm trying to create this movement called Dream It, Build It. And just kind of the final point on all this is that, this country was built differently. Leif Erikson was an explorer in 970. He was a Viking and he discovered America. He was an explorer. Christopher Columbus was not an explorer. He was an entrepreneur. He conned the Queen of Spain. Hey, I got an idea. Let me sell like east and end up west or whatever. He was looking for commerce and trade. So when he hit this ground called America, he put something in the ground that is our DNA. And that DNA says, no matter who you are, where you come from, or what your last name is, it should be what your zip code. If you can dream something and you're willing to pay the price, you can build something. It's probably the only sustainable entitlement in America. 300 years from now, I don't know if there'll be pensions. I don't know if there'll be Social Security. But if we lose this entrepreneurial birthright, we have to, and no one talks about it in Washington.
Well, I wanted to just build on that and just
President
ask you.
Roy does.
And we don't spend a lot of time at the Motley Fool thinking that much about the political world, and I guess probably we've saved ourselves a whole bunch of time.
And money.
But and Roy, I know you've definitely participated in the world. You've added a lot of value to the lives of some people. But my question isn't about that. It's about our country, and you're headed there anyway.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear the Roy Spence definitive, if you have something. What is the purpose of America in your mind? And does America have core values? Have they been articulated? Finally, if you have good answers, why aren't those out there? Because I feel like a big part of the division is that there hasn't been an agreed upon set of core values.
Yeah. Well, it's such a piercing question, and I won't take long, but America has basically, I believe, in generational seasons. I believe that every nation, every person has a spring and summer and fall and winter. And every nation has that too. And a great book called The Fourth Turning was written in 1998 by Strauss and Howe. And they went back and studied they predicted in 1998 that our winter in America would hit in 2007. our winter. The last winter before this, I call it winter, that means a downturn, something terrible. The last winter we were with in America was World War II. The winter before that was my parents' winter, actually their parents' winter. The one before that was the Civil War. The one before that was the American Revolution. And you go throughout the world, every generation has a spring something. Okay. Every other winter, World War II, Civil War, America's beginning, the American people knew what we were fighting for. Every one of them. Freedom, the salvation of our nation, and the birth of our nation. The failure of leadership right now is that no one has articulated what we're fighting for, and so we fight against one another in a democracy. I believe the purpose of America is to allow people to dream big, work hard, and create whatever they want. In the end game, I believe it is about when Disney said, you know, after all, I started with a big dream and a little mouse. I think that we're way, way too caught up in no pass, no play, and all the no child left behind, and look at the word standardized testing. Just stay with me here. Well, they're doing it in Japan and China, but I got an idea. Why don't we try to be like them and be a worse them? America is about diversity when we're at our best. So I want no strength left behind, no talent left behind, no dream left behind. And we're doing some stuff in the Austin School District that's going to blow your mind. Quick story. I was in the 8th grade. My mom was a teacher in Brownwood High School, my little town, Go Lions. And I turned in a paper on Emerson in 8th grade, and I had 9 or 10 misspelled words. That's when we did cursive. And it was all red, and got a C. And I went, C's were not celebrated at the Spence home. And I got home and I tried to hide it, and my mom didn't say a word. And I went, yes. 9th grade comes around, I have a new teacher, and oh my God, we're studying Emerson again. And I went to my mother and I said, I can't turn the paper in because I'm going to make a C. And she said, you do the best you can. So I had 2 more misspelled words. The whole paper was red. And at the top there was a tiny A-. And I went home and put these papers in front of my mom, and I don't get it. And she said, you can't spell, but you can write. And she said, I'm gonna strike a grand bargain with you at 14 years of age. I don't want you to spend another second of your time trying to be average at what you're bad at. If character's involved, we're going to work on that. But I don't want you to spend another second. I want you to spend your entire life trying to be great at what you're good at. And then pause, you can hire a speller. I was writing a speech for the Clinton Global Initiative this morning, and I put initiative into spell check and it had no suggestion. That's how bad I am. Here's my point though.
That just meant you had initiative right. That's what that meant. No. You had it right.
America needs to play to our strength again. When we're at our best, we inspire people to dream and build. Think about this language. We're going to fall off the fiscal cliff. I want to talk about climbing the big mountains. America's not about falling off the cliff. We're forcing a shutdown. I want to create startups. The leadership of our country needs to understand America is always on the move. We're not whiners, we're not complainers. We don't fight each other in public. We join together and build momentum. So I think the purpose of America is give everybody the opportunity to dream and build if they're willing to play by the rules and work hard. And we can regain that momentum of entrepreneurial energy. Whether you're a teacher, or you want to be a florist, or you want to be a yoga instructor. I'll stop on this, but our parents, and y'all have, quit asking your kids what do they want to do. You don't even know what you want to do. Get over it. Ask your kids, what do you love to do? They'll tell you. And then start saying, oh, Juan loves cars. He's in the 9th grade. I'm going to have a conversation with Juan every night about, let's buy some cars. Let's figure out. And let's think about, you know how you could build a car maintenance company? Ask them what they love to do. And they'll tell you, and it's sooner or later, all three of my kids have taken me up on it. They're out there building stuff. And by the way, as parents, that's what we're supposed to do, help our kids build stuff. Dream it, build it.
I know exactly how I want to end the conversation. It's going to require that we're allowed to edit in this little spot, but I believe we will somehow. We'll see how we can make it work. But Roy, I want you to tell the story of the PSA in 2001. The story, 9/11, what happened, the work that you did, and then we'll hopefully be able to play that spot out of the interview.
Well, everybody knows where they were in my generation when John Kennedy was shot and Bobby Kennedy was shot. And then, of course, everyone knows, regardless of generations, where you were when 9/11 happened. We happened to be in Annapolis, my core team, our agency's in Austin. And we had the Air Force as a client, Southwest Airlines. And so we're all trying to get home, and we get in the car. And everybody in America was basically trying to figure out, what can I do to help? What can we do? And we were just all trying to drive home and kept thinking about, I'm really worried here, not about another attack. I'm worried that in America, because we are so diverse, that as the process is striking our enemies, I didn't want to strike one of our own because they looked different or sounded different. So my daughter was at Duke, and so I went to rush to her to hug her, and we all talked. And that night, we all decided, my creative teams, Jeremy and David and this bunch of people, we're going to call every director we know in America. And we're going to ask them to go out into the heartland and to the cities and ask people of all race and gender and ethnicity and religion to say one thing: I'm an American. And of course, all the directors, yes, we're all in. And we started filming the next day at Duke with students. I'm an American, I'm an American. We rushed home, we got home, we started editing in 10 or 12 days, something like that. We had this commercial called I'm an American. And it was people from, and by the way, a little story about this. I woke up in the middle of the night right before we finished the edit, and I kept thinking, e pluribus unum, what is it? I took 4 years of Latin because I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Can you imagine? Britannia is no insula. That's all I know. But anyway, so, or whatever. But there was something I kept, e pluribus unum. And so I get on the internet, and sure enough, I literally still have chill bumps. The first motto of the United States of America was e pluribus unum. And it says, out of many, one. And we ended the spot with e pluribus unum. And it ran more than maybe any PSA ever in the history. Then 10 years celebration, we did it again, it ran again. It's the proudest moment of my life because in the end, we were all in this together. And Americans want, here's my theory and it'll stop. When we're at our best, our leaders build the ship of state, flying the American dream flag. When we're at our worst, we build partisanships, flying special interest flags. This country needs to have leaders who want to be in the shipbuilding business again, but not partisanships, but the ship of state. The American people want to get aboard. We just need to know what we're fighting for, what we're defending, and I think it is the American dream is what we're fighting for. That no matter who you are or where you come from, you can dream big. And we're not going to let you fail just because you can't spell or you can't do math. Everybody, God gave everyone the ability to have talent, and our job is to develop their full potential. Not to run them out because they can't pass a test. The big test in America is, are you willing to work hard, dream big, and play by the rules? That's the new test. And it was the old test too. So that's what I think we ought to be doing.
Love it.
From your lips to God's ears. That's great, Roy. Seriously, thank you.
Wait,
don't end it in with a hug.
Come on, baby.
All right, there we go.
I am an American.
I
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am 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 an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I
am an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am America.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I am an
I
American.
am an American.
I'm an American. I am an American.
I am an American.